I'll be fine with that. The Senate will now come to order. Please find your seats. The Pledge of Allegiance will now be led by Chief of Staff Tax, followed by a moment of silence and reflection.
The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated.
The clerk will now call the roll. Please correct the pronunciation of your name if it is incorrect.
Baber. Barnes. Barr. Bracy. Bryant. Calder. Cost. Creed. Durham. Galavati. Galt. Goldstein. Hamilton. Harvey. Peter. Hensley. Hurd. Howe. Kay. Kuhn. Kwame. Keene. LaPinta. Lapsley. Lazarenu. Lynn. Malachi. Brandon Miller. Isabella Miller. Montalto. Morgan. Wynn. Peterson. Rangivajula. Ravi. Sane. Sellers. Spittler. Badlamani. Vaught. Wenzel. Whitehead.
With a quorum being present, is there a motion to approve the Journal of October 4th, 2023 as found online? Senator Hensley. Let the record reflect that, please. So with that being said, is there a motion to approve the Journal of October 4th, 2023 as found online? With that, is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We are now in line for general orders of the Senate, beginning with special guests. Residence Hall Association President Claire Haynes, you are recognized to give a report before the body.
Wednesday. A few reports about dining that we've gotten. We passed a resolution last week about the ghost kitchen at the community table, just supporting that. With that, they're opening a ghost kitchen in the pavilion in response to some resident concerns because it does close a little bit earlier than some residents are wanting. So they're going to open a ghost kitchen there. The ghost kitchen and community table is actually adding another option as well, so hopefully that's to come soon. We're excited about that because that means we'll have other options and it won't get super long. The line has been super long as of right now just because of how popular it's been. They are also thinking about splitting the Jimmy John's into potentially another restaurant on campus over near the pavilion in Campus Village. It's just a pretty large space, so they're kind of looking for student feedback on what we would want in that area. A bigger thing that we have going on is we passed a resolution about the water filters across campus. A lot of the water filters are lighting up red, and they will stay that way for a few weeks. So we brought that to the attention of not only Russell House, but also some of the other facilities managers on campus. I'm meeting with Jason Lambert next week, and hopefully we're going to work through a QR code system process so that students walking by, if they go to a water filter and it's lighting up red, they can scan a QR code. They are working on a reporting system that will be launched in the summer, but we'll be able to get those QR codes up because it will be the same system, just a little bit revamped. So So we're excited to meet and talk about that. That's going to be one of the big advocacy projects we have. Operation Renovation, so we're still working on that. We need some updates from our internal people before we can begin partnering or kind of getting information from residents. It's been a little bit of a slower process because we have a new renovation person in housing. We do have a day of play scheduled, so I don't know if y'all know like Nickelodeon, but our sustainability committee wanted to do a day of play to promote sustainability and then also activity. So on November 3rd, we're having a lot of sustainable organizations come onto Green Street in Davis, and we're going to do a pretty large thing. There's going to be inflatables, kind of tabling ordeal. We are still looking for volunteers for the conference that we're hosting October 27th through the 29th. So 2 weekends from now, which is super exciting. A lot of work, but also exciting. Passed a resolution about Green Quad couches. That's going to be happening over the summer. So we kind of just passed something in support of that because they are kind of falling apart. Bates House and Bates West, we passed a resolution about the lighting and more sustainable lighting in there. They're not LED lights as of right now. And with residents still in those buildings, we really do want to make that experience as best as possible while remaining sustainable. And we're going to slowly work to hopefully get all lights across campus in residential halls that way. We are seeing some Wi-Fi issues in the historic neighborhood. They know it's a problem, but we kind of just want to keep pushing, let people know that students are still complaining about that. So that's up on the docket for next week. Up on the docket for next week also is the new student union legislation. So we had to alter some things, tinker with it. I've worked with the speaker, and we're hoping to get that passed next week. Also thinking about some transportation issues with football. With some of the shuttles going back and forth, they are a little bit slow, and we're still seeing tons of residents walk on the railroad tracks, which is a major safety concern. So pushing for that. But with that, I yield my time to questions.
The president yields to questions. Are there any questions for the RHA president? Senator, you are recognized.
Yeah, so when the dining halls shut down, so like community table shuts down at 8 p.m. So when they shut down, they open the kitchen in the back. So you can't actually walk into community table, but you can order what they call chicken tenders or something like that. It's chicken tenders, so they'll cook that stuff back in the kitchen. You just can't enter community table, and that I believe is open to like 12 a.m. for students to still order, and you can pick it up from the Gamecock General that's right outside of the community table.
Any other questions for the president? Seeing none, thank you so much. Is there a motion to take a 2-minute recess to fix a thing on the calendar? Without objection, so ordered. We are now in a 2-minute recess. The Senate will now come back to order. So we are now in line for general orders of the Senate. Moving on to reports from Senate leadership. Speaker Pro Tempore Hurd, you are recognized to give a report on the Rules Committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. Rules Committee met this past Sunday, And we have one piece of finance legislation as well as two student issue-based recommendations hitting the floor on first reading calendar tonight, so that's very exciting. In addition to that, our engineering delegation, I've been meeting with them continually, and they are going to be meeting with their dean as well as establishing an engineering leadership council. They've met with 3 student organizations to start getting buy-in for this effort, but I just wanted to share that as an example of what one delegation that has gotten started early is doing. In addition to that, I'm going to be meeting privately with HRSM and our pharmacy delegations in the upcoming week, and that's going to be exciting to get initiatives started with that as well. And my goal is to meet with all of our smaller delegations and start, planting the seeds of what our larger goals are going to be for this following term. But there's going to be more to come with the College of Arts and Science and the Darla Moore School of Business. So thank you. I yield to questions.
The Speaker Pro Tempore yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Speaker Pro Tempore? Seeing none, thank you so much. We will now hear a report from the Academics Committee. Chairwoman Creed, you are recognized.
So the Academics Committee did not meet this past week because of the Freshman Council mixer, but moving forward, I'll be meeting with Claire Robinson from the Provost Office about advising next Monday, and I will also be attending the Freshman Council Academics Committee tomorrow night to help them with their initiatives. Senator Morgan and I have a piece of legislation that'll hit the floor tonight, but with that, I yield to questions.
The Chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Finance Committee. Chairman Kuhn, you are recognized.
Hi, everybody. Last Friday, the Finance Committee met, although I could not be there. Senator Vaught helped lead the meeting, as well as Senator Baber. From all I understand, we have a big piece of finance legislation coming out tonight due to fall breaking pending. We had a lot of dialogues last meeting. Just want to thank everybody for going so we get all those done. That was a really big step for our semester and for a lot of clubs so they can get their events done before fall break. With that being said, I yield to questions.
The Chairman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairman? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Health and Safety Committee. Chairwoman Ravi, you are recognized.
Hello, everyone. Big week for health and safety as usual. First things first, the graphics and the social media communications regarding the School of Pharmacy's flu shot drive were put out today, so that's awesome. Quick reminder that will be happening from 10 to 2 in Coker, second floor of Coker. And the School of Pharmacy will be doing it. Go get your flu shot, especially if you work in healthcare, because I know those hospitals are on your butt about doing that. Second thing is we do have a piece of legislation hitting the floor tonight. This pertains to transportation on campus and kind of our U101 initiative overall. And then the third thing that I wanted to say is that one of our senators met with our dietitian, our registered dietitian on campus to talk about our campus dietary initiative, and we're going to be furthering our work with them in the future. And then lastly, with regards to our collaboration with No Periods Left Behind to kind of fundraise for menstrual products, I reached out to them. I will be having a meeting with them next week, and then after that, we're going to be reaching out to other orgs to begin kind of fundraising or doing a menstrual product drive. With that, I yield to questions.
The Chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We will now hear a report from the Inclusion and Equity Committee. Chairwoman Bracy, you are recognized.
Good evening, everybody. Today we did meet and discuss how we're going to find a new vice chair for our committee and how we're going to hold an interview. We've had some scheduling issues for Deputy Secretary of Inclusion and Equity, so we should have that done by the end of next week. Well, hopefully by the next Senate meeting. And I believe that is it. I yield to questions.
The Chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Judiciary Committee. Chairman Bryant, you are recognized.
Good evening, everybody. So, per usual, Judiciary Committee met Friday at 1 p.m., the LSC. We had one order of business, and that was to conduct a confirmation hearing for Mr. Kel Runyon, the President's nominee for Elections Commission member. He was found unanimously favorable by all members present from Judiciary Committee, and so he has the full support of the committee moving forward, and his confirmation will take place during the motion period, and I will yield to questions.
The chairman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairman? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now hear a report from the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Chairwoman Baber, you are recognized.
Hi, Powers and Responsibilities met Monday at 7 p.m. on our usual time. We usually meet 7 to 8. We had 4 scheduled interviews. One was rescheduled to Thursday, so we will be having an impromptu meeting on Thursday at 6 p.m. for an interview. We got 2 candidates that were favorable, and we warmly welcomed them. They're in the back. And 1 unfavorable candidate, and all unfavorable candidates will be welcomed back for another interview if they so please to do another, because everyone gets a say at 2 interviews. I yield my time to questions.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you. We'll now hear a report from the Student Life Committee. Chairwoman Malachi, you are recognized. Senator Vaught, you are recognized to give a report.
Hi everyone. I'm filling in for Chairwoman Malachi today. Student Life met at 6 p.m. in the LSC on Monday. Let's see, the Deputy Secretary of University Relations, KJ Lemon, and his committee attended. Our committee is decided on which pieces of legislation we wanted to work on, and we have split our committee up into 2 group teams who are working on these pieces of legislation. Our committee is also working on the Froco Student Life on an event, and we'll share more information as soon as we attend their meeting and have more information on that. With that, I yield my time to questions.
Senator Vaught yields to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Sustainability Committee. Chairwoman Heater, you are recognized.
Hey everyone, so thank you so much for coming out for Green on Green tabling. That was super successful. We worked with the Deputy Secretary of Sustainability, Peter Sutton, and then Cameron was there, and we also had a lot of help from the Froco Sustainability Committee, which was exciting, so some great outreach there. Sustainability, we met last Friday at 2:30 p.m. We were joined by President Emmy Thompson and Academics Chairwoman Emma Creed. We were discussing like a potential sustainability initiative for donating using Greek clothing and costumes. And then with Chairwoman Creed, we were discussing LED lighting in study spaces. Today, I met with Sustainable Carolina Representative Gloria Esteen to discuss green certification process. So moving forward, we're looking into some legislation encouraging green certification of student government events. I'll be working on this over fall break. I'd encourage anyone to join me if you're available on that and like want to give your input. Also potentially updating some finance codes on sustainability, and that was something I discussed with Sustainable Carolina today, and then writing like some sort of general climate action legislation. Overall, it's been really successful, and I'm looking forward to fall break. And with that, I yield to questions.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you. We will now have a report from the Freshman Council. Are there any representatives from the Freshman Council present? You guys are recognized.
Thank you, Speaker. Hello, everyone. My name is Ainsley Martin. I'm a neuroscience major and health behavior education promotion minor. I'm on Freshman Council Academic Committee.
Hi, my name is Nada Omari. I am a neuroscience major, and I am on the DEI committee.
So we're really grateful for you guys having us here today. Firstly, I'm going to speak on our Health and Safety Committee, which are working on de-stressors for finals. The academic committee is also working on collaborating with them to have a table near Thomas Cooper during finals week that has tea and study tips written on the cups, just to kind of encourage students during that time so they don't have to also spend more money on drinks. Other things the academic committee is working on, our year-long goal is to look at getting syllabi released by professors a week before their classes start, and then also creating a syllabi database to be published in order to improve advising and also decrease like class drop rates. And we're looking to potentially model this off of Alabama's current syllabi database. And Chairwoman Creed will be joining us at our meeting tomorrow in the LSC at 7:30, so anyone's welcome to come if you're interested in working on that with us. As for Student Life, they're working on an event called Carolina Castaway, which would be planned to happen in January 2024. And it would essentially be students having candles. They don't have all the logistics figured out yet, but having floating candles, setting them into the Thomas Cooper Fountain, and basically as a farewell to 2023. So.
All right, our sustainability committee is working on having a donation center for Ronald McDonald Pop Tabs. They're thinking of integrating that into University 101 and kind of creating a sort of competition to basically acquire those pop tabs. Community outreach is working on volunteering initiatives for Thanksgiving, going to food banks and soup kitchens during that time. And they're also working on a toy drive around Christmas time. The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee is working on mental health confessionals, where we plan next week to set out a table for students to come in, answer some questions about mental health, and hopefully have those posted. And we are also working on a Day of the Dead event to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month that passed, and also to celebrate Day of the Dead. We yield our time for questions.
The representatives yield to questions. Are there any questions for the Freshman Council representatives? Chairman Kuhn, you are recognized.
Honestly, I did like student government in high school, and I think I'm just really looking forward to kind of doing that on a larger scale. Also, like representing my freshman class, I think it's really awesome when people can bring in fresh new ideas and kind of see how that can change with the class of 2027.
Very similar thing. I'm just looking forward to meeting this group of people, seeing what our community needs, and listening to that, doing that, and having fun with it.
Any other questions for the representatives? Seeing none, thank you so much for giving your very first report. We will now hear a report from the Constitutional Council. Chief Justice Buchmeier, you are recognized.
Evening, everyone. It's new week, same story. Not too much to report on part of the Constitutional Council. We're still there. Happy to support y'all on anything y'all are doing. And with that, I yield to questions.
The Chief Justice yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chief Justice?
Thank you.
Seeing none, thank you. We are now in line for a report from the Student Body Treasurer. Treasurer Oxbach Lama, you are recognized.
Hi everyone. We had our first monthly Treasurers Workshop this past Friday, so that was really exciting. There were like 10 orgs there, for which not being a beginning of the year workshop was really good because we didn't have to meet with those orgs individually and they got to ask all their questions. We will have another one next month. We're starting to reach the midpoint in the semester, and so I'm going to be sending out an email to you guys and to all the student orgs at the end of this week after Finance Committee meets, just to give an update on where we are as far as how much of the activity fee has been allocated and how much of the student government budget has been used. As of right now, as it stands, we've allocated roughly 30% of the student activity fee, which honestly looks like we're going to be at exactly around 50% by the end of the semester, which is really good for everything. And as for the student government budget, we are looking to be at roughly 20% of the student government budget that is allocated. Other than that, there's not really any new news from us, so I yield to questions.
The Student Body Treasurer yields to questions. Senator Morgan.
Yeah, so it resets with the school's fiscal year, which ends July 1. Yeah. And so for students, it will end at the end of next semester.
Any other questions? Senator Kay?
Roughly $186,000.
Any other questions for the student body treasurer? Senator Morgan?
That was what, $186,000. That was that's the amount that's in the fee. Currently, what's in the fee would be, like 130,000. No problem.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you so much. We will now hear a report from the Speaker of the Student Senate, Cameron Eubanks. Chief of Staff Courtney Tax, you are recognized.
Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. To start, I just wanted to thank you guys a lot. This is one of the first Senate sessions we've had in a while where we have no unexcused absences, so everybody is either here or sent me their proxies. So it's really, really appreciated, it's greatly appreciated. And just a reminder, if you need a refresher, in order to be excused, you need to email me your excuse, and you also need to fill out the form on Garnet Gate. It's Senate proxy form, it's right there. And the other thing, if you email me and tell me you won't be there, there's a good chance I got it. If no need for a follow-up email asking if I got it, I most likely got it. I usually get about a good bit a day. So I know that you're not gonna be here. Now for everybody's favorite part, the people that haven't filled out their Senate bios, we still have a list. And again, I'm gonna keep saying it every single week. So the people I need to fill out their Senate bios, we have Will Barnes, Macy Galt, Sebastian Goldstein, Nick Harvey, Jackson Hensley, Philip Howe, Dania Malachi, Bryson Peterson, and Hema Vadlamani. Everybody got it? Okay, let's try to get that number to 0 next week, please. I'm begging you. Next, Food for Thought. Again, it's going to be October 24th to 25th, Tuesday to Wednesday. Right now, we are at 6 locations, potentially a 7th. More information to come on that. And delegation chairs should expect an email from us soon to meet next Monday or Tuesday to go over kind of the specifics, because again, it is a delegation-based activity. So you guys are kind of going to be taking the charge for your specific delegation. For FROCO, I wanted to thank everybody for coming to the mixer. I had the freshman council directors tell me personally that they understand about how hard they've been pushing, and they really, really wanted to thank you guys. We had a really good show out. To the mixer event, there is going to be another mixer after fall break. It's going to be an ice cream social, so please show up to that. And then there is an opportunity that we wanted to give to you guys, specifically that you guys could give out to your delegation or your committee or yourself personally. The Leadership and Service Center is offering an opportunity for you to actually go in and speak to them. It's called Open Hours Opportunity. It's Thursday, October 12th, or Monday, October 16th from 1:30 to 3:30, and you can also drop in at any point. And this is specifically for either your student org or student orgs that kind of fall under your delegation to go actually talk to them and ask any questions that they have about their student organization. This can range from Garnet Gate, 25 Live, organizational funding, leadership within your organization, kind of anything in the realm of student orgs. If you're a leader, if you're not a leader, just any question you have. So I highly recommend you giving that resource to clubs that kind of fall under your delegation, and just you in general. If you have questions about any of that, please don't hesitate to go stop by. With that, I yield my time to questions.
The Chief of Staff yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chief of Staff? Chairman Kuhn.
So we have, I think, 2 or 3 more mixers. We're not really doing the same process we did last year where you kind of go on dates. It's going to be more of a group activity every time. So I would say probably within the following month is when they'll be assigned.
Any other questions? Senator Vaught.
I did not see it. But I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong. I'm going to be honest, I do see it. I was relying on Command F, and Command F failed me. So Dania did have her slide filled out. Thank you, Dania.
Any other questions? And point of information for the mentor mentees, there is a separate PowerPoint. All you can do is like copy and paste your Senate bio into that slide. So as you know, these Senate bios are helping you out on other activities in student government, so you should definitely fill it out. We're also trying to do some senator spotlights and some fun things in between our Senate Sunday posts, and we can't do that without your information because then we wouldn't know fun things about you. So please, please fill out the senator bios so we can have some fun on Instagram with them.
And just kind of a clarification too for the mentor mentee slides, there are two different ones that are posted. It's the one that's connected to the link tree. So if you go back through, it's in the overall student government GroupMe. If you go in there, there's going to be two different ones that you can click on. It's the link tree one. But if you filled out the other one, just copy and paste that information into the link tree one.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for a report from the Student Body Vice President. Chief of Staff Badinsky, you are recognized.
Hey guys, did you miss me? But no, Aubriana and Emmy are both at Spurs and Struts right now, so me and Patton are filling in for them. For VP's office, we just finished up Stigma Free Week. That went off swimmingly. Thanks to everyone who showed up, just engaged with us. Any one of you guys who volunteered, shouts out you, Mr. Lapsley. Our first episode, since we are also the outreach branch, we have a podcast. It's called Inside 1801. First episode came out this past Friday. We did it with the homecoming president, Miss Caroline Salisbury. Next Friday's episode is getting recorded this Friday. As Courtney just mentioned about the link tree in there, you should also see an option to go ahead and ask questions about the 1801 guests or hosts or anything you really want to know or hear about going on campus. If you guys want to give us any suggestions, we're always receptive to that. But yeah, it's all just going to be in that link tree. The mentor-mentee mixer went well. We pretty much have all of our mentors done. We had a good turnout. The next mentor-mentee mixer that we're going to have for FROCO is going to be next Tuesday. It'll be the Tuesday after fall break, but it is going to be an ice cream mixer, so please, please, please show up to all my mentors. And then just last bit of thing, we wanted to remind you guys, if you guys make a graphics request or a social media request or a programming request, you got to do that a week ahead of time. We have a lot on our plates. We don't want to overwhelm our comms team. So if you guys do need any of that, just be sure you're filling out the form on Garnet Gate. Don't just text Kat or Maddie like 2 days before you need it. Be like, hey. But yeah, no, thank you guys for that. Yeah, I think that should be everything. As you guys, I'm sure, have heard, our South Caroliniana library is back open. The hours for that are going to be Tuesday through Saturday. I want to say it's 9 to 5. I could be wrong. Okay, I think it's 9 to 5. But no, yeah, and with that, I yield.
The Chief of Staff yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chief of Staff? And point of information, the South Carolina Library is very beautiful inside. President Thompson and myself attended the ribbon cutting last week, and if you have a chance to go inside and study in it, it is absolutely amazing. Also, if you like history and you're a museum buff, it's an awesome place to go and kind of see what they did over the past 4 years. Any other questions for the Chief of Staff? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for a report from the Student Body President. Chief of Staff Byers, you are recognized.
Hey everyone, I'm filling in for Emmy. Like Brandon just said, both of them are at Spurs and Struts, and they are emceeing that, so I think they're gonna have a lot of fun with that. And I believe it ends at 7, 8. So we maybe we'll all have time to head over there and watch some fun stuff. But nevertheless, just want to go over a few things that Emmy and our staff and the cabinet is working on. So Emmy met with, or will be meeting with, Alex English, who is the chair of the Academic Excellence and Student Experience Committee, tomorrow to discuss the content of her presentation to the board later in the semester, and is going to bring her attention, or to his attention, some of the student priorities that they have been focusing on within the cabinet and within our staff as well. So if there's something that you guys would like for her to talk about too, Mr. English, please feel free to meet with her or set up a call or something of the nature to make sure you can get that told to her. She also will be spending her fall break in Missouri with the Board of Trustees, so she's looking forward to that opportunity to have valuable conversations with the Board of Trustees and with other members of Missouri, see how they do things differently for good or for bad, and how we can become a better student government because that, and advocate for better things on our campus that maybe she saw at Missouri. We are also currently in the process of collecting updated data on the other SEC schools' activity fee and student center fees, so we will be getting numbers on that as well. And whenever we increase, or because we are potentially in the process of talking to administration about potentially increasing our fees, so we want to make sure we have good data on what prospective schools are doing as well in the SEC. So we're looking forward to seeing potential legislation on that y'all are working on. Emmy also talked to Chairman Kuhn about this week's, or about last week, because I don't know if y'all saw about Gamecock Jesus, but he is battling cancer, so Emmy has tasked Chairman Kuhn with working on a resolution to honor him and his contribution to the fan experience. Please keep him in your thoughts and prayers, please. And also, Emmy is meeting, or just met actually a few hours ago, with USCPD this week to go over a proposal for an Uber discount for students for the Carolina-Clemson game. So that's something we've been working a lot on in staff. So Carolina-Clemson game, obviously one of the biggest games of the year, if not the biggest. Obviously, it's going to be crazy things going on, so we want to make sure students are safe. So one of the ways that we thought would be the best way to do that is giving an Uber discount to students. We are actually the only school in the SEC that does not have an Uber discount. So we are personally putting that on ourselves, and we are going to try to fund it ourselves, but we would love to have extra fundings from other organizations like USCPD to help fund it with us so we can give more discounts to more students. So that's kind of the purpose of that meeting, and she will talk more about that next week whenever she gets hopefully some positive results from that meeting. She also met with Beth Bregden, the interim CIO, this week, and they discussed several IT-related matters that directly impacted students. So the bulk of that conversation was on the network modernization and that the things that are currently going underway. And like President Amaritas talked about last week with T-Coop and Russell House being on below, or like part of the lower part of the ranking system to an extent of what needs to be modernized for IT and infrastructure, that they were going to try to flip that. So she's helping out with advocacy work on that as well. And also there was one other thing, let me just check that really quick, and that was tomorrow they are hosting a vigil tomorrow at 8 p.m. at the Rutledge Chapel for Israel and the war that is currently going on. So please feel free to attend that and let your friends know. Because she also wants us to let y'all know that we would like to keep Israel in her prayers, and we are in discussions with groups of students on campus who have been affected and are looking for ways to help them from afar. So this is the perfect way that we can do that, and I know that they'll be talking more about that tomorrow at 8. So I yield to questions.
The Chief of Staff yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chief of Staff? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for special orders of the Senate. Are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other? The clerk will now read.
A communication from the Office of the Speaker of the Student Senate requesting a 1-week extension for the following positions. Assistant Clerk.
The question is of a 1-week extension on the appointment of Assistant Clerk. All in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The extension is granted. Continuing on, the clerk will read.
A communication from the Office of the Student Body President concerning the nomination of Abby Pogue to the position of Elections Commission member.
The nomination is referred to the Judiciary Committee. Continuing on.
Application of Kennedy Brown to be seated in the 115th Student Senate.
This application is referred to the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Continuing on.
Approval of the following committee assignments for the newly confirmed senators filling vacant seats. Camden Kay, Judiciary and Health and Safety. Brandon Miller, Inclusion and Equity in Academics. Abby Spittler, Inclusion and Equity in Academics.
The question is of approval of the following committee assignments. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The committee assignments are approved. Continuing on, the clerk will now read. Hearing no more special orders of the Senate, we are now in line for the motion period. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator LaPenta. Granted. Any other motions on the floor? Chairman Bryant. There's been a motion to confirm Kel Runyon to the position of Election Commission's member. All in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The nominee is confirmed. Any other motions on the floor? Chairwoman Baber. There's been a motion to confirm the newly appointed vacant seat senators to the position of a student senator. All in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The nominees are confirmed. Any other motions on the floor? Chairman Bryant. There's been a motion to suspend the rules to allow the nominees to come and take their oath of office. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We are now in the suspension of the rules. If the nominees could make their way down to the front to have their oath of office administered. All right, if we could do, let's see. You three. I think I'm going to stand in front of the podium, so not blocking you, or maybe to the side. Perfect. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. I, David. Do solemnly pledge to faithfully execute. The office of state for office. To abide by the student government constitution and code. To abide by the student government constitution and code. To uphold the Carolinian Creed. And to represent my constituents. To the best of my ability. Congratulations to the newly confirmed senators and election commission member. With that being said, are there any other motions on the floor? Point of information, remember this is a time that you can add yourself or remove yourself from any committee of your choosing, just as a friendly reminder. Any other motions on the floor? Chairwoman Creed. There's been a motion to add Amendment 1 to SBL 11521. Does the sponsor of this bill find it friendly or unfriendly? The sponsor finds it friendly. The amendment is adopted. Any other motions on the floor? Chairman Kuhn. There's been a motion to add Amendment 1 to SBL 11523. Does the sponsor of this legislation find it friendly or unfriendly? Senator Vaught, do you find the amendment friendly or unfriendly to our legislation? The Amendment 1 is found friendly. The amendment is adopted into the legislation. Senator Hamilton. There's been a motion to remove Senator Hamilton from the Sustainability Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Hamilton. There's been a motion to add Senator Hamilton to the Finance Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Kwame. Granted. Any other? Senator Kwame. Granted. Any other motions on the floor? Seeing no more motions, is there a motion to dispense of the motion period? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We are now in the call of the introduction of new legislation. The clerk will now read.
SBL 11521, introduced by Chairman Creed and Senator Morgan. A recommendation to petition the administration of the University of South Carolina, Columbia to expand the hours of operation of the Thomas Cooper Library to 24 hours in the week before examinations.
Chairwoman Creed and Senator Morgan, you are recognized to speak on the legislation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Everyone, as we just heard the clerk say, this bill is to ask the university administration to ensure that TCUP is open 24 hours in the lead up to exams. Currently, it is not. I believe it keeps with its current schedule by closing at 2 a.m. during exam, or in the week before exams, excuse me. The university is closed during exams. And honestly, I think you can learn all you need to know by me telling you that Clemson and Coastal Carolina University have their libraries open 24 hours in the lead up to exams, and we do not. And we are the state flagship institution of higher education. Folks, honestly, the point of a university is to provide and to be there and to provide the resources for the students to succeed, no matter what those resources look like. So with that being said, I hope you all will join me in voting yes on this bill. I will yield to the chairwoman if she has anything to add.
I agree with everything he said. There's a lot of students who live on campus that rely on these spaces. So for it to be closed during that crucial week, just something that I feel that needs to change. The amendment also lists numerous other SEC schools that keep their libraries open as well. So we should probably do with that, I yield a question.
The senators yield to questions. Are there any questions for the senators? Senator, you are recognized.
So the Deputy Secretary of Academics, Maddie Moore, met with the Dean of Libraries about 2 weeks ago, and they said that their problem was resources and funding for it, but that is something that's being looked at and included in a budget that will be presented to the Board of Trustees soon.
And point of information, like Chairwoman Creed said, that is something that President Thompson has prepared a budget proposal for, is to dedicate those resources to opening it 24 hours within that week. So that is something consistently being talked about at the Board of Trustees level. Senator Kaye.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we say in the legislation, in order to, factor in the time that's needed, should this legislation pass, in order to factor in the time needed for this change, we say that we would like this change to take place as soon as possible, preferably before exams in the spring of 24, not this semester. So we're giving them ample time, but we're not even holding them to that. That's just what we would like to see. Yes.
Any other questions for the senators? Seeing none, thank you. This legislation is referred to the Academics Committee. Continuing on with the call of the introduction for new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11522, introduced by Senator Harvey, a recommendation to increase student awareness of transportation services on campus.
Senator Harvey, you are recognized to speak on the legislation. And Senator Hensley, excuse me.
Okay, wait. Okay, hey everyone. The main goal of this was just that there is a lot of services available on campus that people are just completely unaware of. So our end goal is to just establish more early education, hopefully in programs like U101 and tabling, that sort of thing, just so people can recognize the programs that we offer on campus. It's not like introducing new programs, it's specifically just saying there's a lot of things available that people need to know about.
And this would more or less just allow us to begin working with the UNO office and Sustainable Carolina to begin to create a curriculum of sorts to raise awareness within our U101 classes about these resources that we have that most students, especially freshmen, are not aware of. With that, we yield to questions.
The senators yield to questions. Are there any questions for the senators? Senator Kay.
They are. We have. There's the. They're listed in here. A lot of. So, the first couple that are mentioned are all just different routes of the. Not the common.
Yeah, the common. Yeah.
And then there's also things like the park and ride and rides on demand that they offer, sort of like a university-owned Uber system. And then there obviously like there's different shuttles that offer. Yeah, there's just.
We have data from the Office of Transportation that would be utilized in this curriculum in order to educate people on these issues that are clearly just unknown about our campus. So yeah.
Any other questions? And point of information, we love questions, so never apologize for asking questions. Senator, you're recognized.
So we have talked with U101 teachers. So this is something that a teacher can create themselves to present, but there is nothing that is offered by the U101 office for them to select and take as a part of their curriculum. So this would make it kind of lift that burden on U101 instructors for them to, have to create it themselves. It would also incentivize them to include this in their curriculums because it's not an extra step that they have to take.
Any other questions for the senators? Senator LaPinta.
It'd probably be separate. It could easily fall under the.
It's in there. We also wanted to include tabling.
Yeah, I mean, it's an umbrella thing. It's written in a sort of open way on purpose, but just one of the tangible things that we were hoping to work on with this piece of legislation was those two things.
Any other questions? Chairwoman Ravi.
I think I'm just passionate about sustainability, and public transportation is a huge part of that. And I think it's just the fact that we have these resources on campus that I noticed in my time here have just not been utilized or talked about hardly at all.
In the same vein, a lot of these things that I learned about are because my mom texted me and was like, "Have you taken this?" I was like, "No, I didn't know it existed." But apparently they're very active in the Facebook groups, the university is, promoting these services. But how many of you are actively checking the university's Facebook groups? So yeah.
Any other questions for the senators? And point of information to Senator LaPinta, if any of you would like to add other specific pieces to the legislation, it is going through the committee process. So like I said, I would just talk to the committee that's assigned to, or if you're on that committee, and just brainstorm some ways if you would like to add anything that can be done through an amendment process. Any other questions for the senators? Seeing none, thank you so much. The legislation is referred to the Health and Safety and Sustainability Committees. Continuing on with the call, the introduction of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 115-23, introduced by Senator Vaught, A recommendation to permit the Senate Finance Committee to allocate funds to student organizations.
Senator Vaught, you are recognized to speak on the legislation.
Hi, everyone. This is just a pretty regular finance appropriations bill. It's totals, we met with 10 organizations. The student organizations requested $23,776.20. The Finance Committee approved the allocation to 8 organizations of $22,898.04. The organizations we approved the allocation to are the Anthropology Student Association, Society of Women Engineers, Surf Club, Mock Trial Team, International Soccer Club, Freedom Writers Organization, Alliance for Women in STEM, and Med Alum. I yield the time to questions.
Senator Vaught yields to questions. Chairman Kuhn. Any other questions for the senator? Seeing none, thank you. Is there a motion to pass by acclamation? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The legislation is adopted. Continuing on with the introduction of new legislation, the clerk will now read. Hearing none, we are now in the call of the uncontested calendar. The clerk will now read. Hearing none. Oops, Senator Hensley. Granted. That completes the call of the uncontested legislation. We are now in the call of the contested calendar. The clerk will now read. Hearing none. We are now in line for a period of open discussion. Does any senator wish to bring a matter of attention to the body? Seeing none, we are now in line for a period of announcements. Are there any announcements from the floor? Seeing none, as always, I do have an announcement before we leave. Just as a reminder that we don't have a Senate session next Wednesday. Please enjoy your fall break. Actually take a break from student government and from school. Give yourself some mental health days. That is what fall break is used for. I know at Wednesday at 5 o'clock, I will be shutting down my Outlook until Monday. So I am very excited about that. So if you need me, please text me as I can answer it there, but I will not be checking my email over fall break. But that being said, when we come back, we do have our very first really big outreach initiative coming up. That is the Food for Thought initiative. Currently, we have about 6 locations. We're possibly working on a 7th. The 6 locations are in the Close Hip building. We'll be tabling in there. We'll be tabling on the bridge leading to Humanities, the nursing building, Colloquium, that bridge that connects Coker and Hamilton. We'll be tabling there. We'll also be tabling on Green Street, as well as tabling outside the Science and Technology building, and we will be tabling inside the J School. So those locations do cover about all of the delegations and programs that we cover within our Student Senate. We're possibly working on a 7th location. Some ideas have been floated around about a swearing-in table, about a table at Campus Village and having Freshman Council partner with us on working that table to get freshmen's perspectives. We're currently working on what that's going to look like, but for now we do have 6 confirmed locations. Each location is going to have an iPad or 2. We'll be tracking the demographic data of everyone we reach. So each table you will swipe the student's Carolina card as they are receiving the box of chicken minis. You will swipe their Carolina card, and then once their Carolina card is swiped, we'll get demographic information, also like information on their class and colleges. And then you will embark on a lovely conversation with them about what they would like to see from you as a senator of their delegation or college, and what they would like to see out of the university and changes of that matter. This is going to be a really amazing event. We're expected to reach over 3,000 students and get data on 3,000 students' concerns on this event. We're working with the assessment department and the student life to make a digital basically model to capture these concerns. So we will obviously have more information about what that's going to look like at the delegation chairperson meeting next week. But we're super excited about that. This data is going to be used for all different types of projects and initiatives within student government, and it's going to be shared with our university stakeholders and counterparts. So that being said, please, please, when your delegation chairperson sends the Sign Up Genius to sign up for tabling, please sign up. This is a 2-day event, meaning we're going to be tabling from 10 to 1 on both days. We chose to do 10 because chicken minis are a breakfast item, and so students would like to eat it in breakfast time instead of the 11 to 2 mark that we have. It also captures some of the class changes that we wanted to capture. So we're super excited about that. Like I said, please, please sign up. We ask that you at least sign up for 1 shift. That is probably going to be a 30-minute shift. It's not a lot of time. Like I said, this is part of your role as a student senator, is capturing the issues that your constituents have and trying to solve those issues with legislation. So please make sure that you are involved in that. So we do have that coming up. Like I said, this is the last Senate session. We'll be advertising it because the next time it will already be happening, and we'll have awesome data to share on it. But I also would like to address some other things. Just as a reminder in your committee meetings, if you're ever holding a meeting with outside organizations, with an outside stakeholder on campus, or with an interviewee, we need to maintain a level of professionalism, right? We want to make sure that a lot of the chatter between committee members are focused on the task at hand and not necessarily about what you're going to do after the committee meeting or anything like that. Just because we want to make sure that student government is seen in the best light to these exterior organizations. So please, as a reminder, keep the professionalism up. You guys have been doing a great job on that. But just keep it going until the end of the term so we can make sure that the students feel that student government is being very representative of their body. With that, I will yield to questions. Are there any questions from the floor? All right, seeing none. And I forgot to end it on a fun announcement. My production at the University Department of Theater and Dance is still going on. We have 4 more shows, this Thursday at 7, this Friday at 7, and this Saturday at 11 and 3. So if you'd like to come see a Broadway-level production in your very own backyard and very cheap tickets, please come out and see that. You can buy tickets on the university website. And it's a great production. Some student government members have already seen it, and they can attest that it was hilarious to watch. Like I said, I do get to act like a 2nd grader and get to do handstands and fun, just run around the entire time. So please come and witness that. And with that, I will yield to questions. Are there any questions for myself? Seeing none, are there any other announcements on the floor? Seeing none, with no other announcements, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. The Senate will now stand adjourned until Wednesday, October 25th, 2023. Do you need finance? Patrick, do you need finance? Who do you need? If Finance Committee, please, could come to the front before you leave. Patrick does have a couple things to discuss.